Chapter 5, Understanding Freehold and Leasehold in the UK Property Market. When it comes to the UK property market, two terms are frequently mentioned: freehold and leasehold. These terms refer to different types of property ownership, each with its own set of rights, responsibilities and considerations. In this chapter, I will explore the key differences between freehold and leasehold properties to help you gain a better understanding of these concepts. Freehold properties. So a freehold property represents the highest form of ownership in the UK property market. When you own a freehold property, you have complete and absolute ownership of both the property and the land it stands on. This means you have full control and responsibility for the property and can use it as you see fit, subject to local planning regulations. The key features of freehold properties include ownership, i.e. that's the property and the land it sits on, belongs solely to the freeholder, providing a sense of security and autonomy. There's no time limit. Freehold ownership has no time restrictions, and once you purchase a freehold property, you own it indefinitely. Ground rent and service charges. Freehold properties are not subject to ground rent or service charges unless they're part of a larger development that have shared amenities that require communal maintenance. Leasehold properties. So unlike freehold properties, leasehold properties involve a different form of ownership. When you purchase a leasehold property, you acquire the right to occupy and use the property for a specified period as outlined in the lease agreement. However, the land itself remains the property of a freeholder who grants the lease. The key features of leasehold properties include a lease term. So leasehold properties are subject to a lease agreement which specifies the length of time you have the right to occupy the property. Lease terms can range from a few decades to several centuries. There are ground rents and service charges. So leaseholders are usually required to pay ground rent and contribute to service charge. Ground rent is an annual fee paid to the freeholder, while service charges cover maintenance costs for shared areas and amenities. Leasehold extensions and enfranchisement. So leaseholders have the right to extend their lease term or collectively purchase the freehold through a process known as leasehold extension or leasehold enfranchisement, respectively. There are restrictions and permissions. So leasehold properties have certain restrictions outlined in the lease agreement, such as limitations on making alterations or subletting the properties. Leaseholders typically need to seek the freeholder's permission for such activity. It's worth noting that leasehold properties are more common in apartment buildings, shared developments, or properties with historical significance. They offer an affordable entry point into the property market but come with additional obligations and potential complications compared to freehold ownership. In the recent years, the UK government has taken steps to reform leasehold laws to enhance customer protection and address perceived issues such as onerous ground rents and unfair practices. These changes aim to provide leaseholders with greater transparency, control and the ability to extend their leases or convert them to freehold ownership. Share freehold. So when discussing property ownership in the UK, another term that often arises is share of the freehold. Share of the freehold refers to a situation where the leaseholders collectively purchase the freehold interest of the entire property they occupy. It provides an alternative ownership structure to the individual leasehold ownership, offering greater control and autonomy to the occupants. The leasehold structure. Initially, a property may be built or converted into individual leasehold units, such as apartments or flats. And in the leasehold structure, each occupant owns a leasehold interest in the respective unit, typically with a long-term lease agreement in place. So formation of a share of the freehold. This is where leaseholders who wish to gain more control over their property can collectively purchase the freehold interest. This involves forming a company, often referred to as right to manage, RTM, company, or a residence management company, RMC, through which the leaseholders acquire the freeholder collectively. I.e., if you've got a block of flats, every flat owner owns their flat, but owns collectively the apartment building. Each leaseholder then effectively is a shareholder of this company, effectively gaining a share of the freehold. Benefits of the share of the freehold offers several advantages to leaseholders, including key features of the freehold properties include increased control. By collectively owning the freehold, leaseholders have greater control over the management, maintenance and decision-making processes concerning the property. They have a say in service charges, repairs and other matters that directly affect their living environment. The extension of lease terms. So leaseholders of the share of the leasehold have the ability to extend their lease terms more easily. The process is typically more straightforward and less costly compared to extending a leasehold owned solely by a freeholder. Lower costs. So as shareholders in the RTM, leaseholders have a direct influence on the property's financial management. This can lead to more effective cost controls, potentially resulting in reduced service charges and increased cost transparency. Flexibility. So the share of the freehold can increase the marketability and desirability of a property. Some buyers prefer properties with share of the freehold, perceiving it as more secure and independent form of ownership. Overall, share of the freehold provides an opportunity for leaseholders to have greater control, flexibility and involvement in the management of their property. It offers an alternative to a traditional leasehold ownership, allowing occupants to collectively own and manage the freehold interest, thereby shaping the future of their living environment.